So currently we have on the tab 1 the board, some of the developers that you can hire. I think I'm just gonna use a pop-up here in the middle where he can choose which one he wants to hire. So the next step I'm going to do is the recreation room. I will make that a background so that elements can be on top of it. Okay, as I said before, let's make this a background so we can put some elements on top of it. Let's now go to CSS. This is the recreation room. I'm going to call this one um, recreation room ID, or let's say class recreation. Now in the CSS here, recreation room will be having this background. Should be. Oh no, we need to set the content. Let's set the height. Defined height. Let's say 300 pixel height. Background size 100%. Okay. Now we have this area. A quick way to do this one without refreshing is here I can edit it here 450. Guess, let me see, 500. Oh yeah, okay. So 450. I guess that's the magic number. Yeah, 430. I'm gonna use 430. This is the magic number. It's perfect height for the recreation room. Now this is just a background now. So you can see we can place our let's see if this will work. Yeah, okay. Now you can see that our developers are on this recreation room, but I want to make it so that the recreation room will not be covered. Okay, we just add padding. What is this? Dev container. So this will contain the devs inside the recreation room. This will have a padding of, or margin, just margin of 30 pixels, maybe more. All right, so now we can still see the recreation room. We have the developers there. Let's say we have 6 developers. Just to see if we have a lot of developers, let's just double the developers that we have in the database. Just duplicate this, see how it will look like. Okay, it just cuts off. One good thing we can set here in the columns, I remember, is the size, because it's gonna be divided into 12. If you set the size to 3, 6, 9, 12, it's just gonna have 4 before it breaks. So let's make it 4. So for each column will be size 4, so it will only have 3 for each row. There we go. So 4, 8, 12, 4, 8, 12. So the size sets the size for each column, and it's usually one row is divided into 12 columns. So you can set the size here. So by default it's 12. So now this is what it will look like if we have 6 developers. I'm curious if we have like a lot. Let's double that. I'm just stress testing this one, see how it will perform. So it will go over our container, no? But I don't think the player or the user will get to that number of workers, so let's not worry about that now. We'll worry about that when we get that issue in the future. Okay, now as promised, we made the recreation room a place that will contain the workers. Now let's make the same with the graphic, sound, program, hire, and contract other rooms. Okay, let's go. Okay, so all of these rooms are now yeah. Sorry, I lagged there. All of these rooms can contain developers inside of them. Let's make an example. Let's just put one developer, developer there. So this one will be dev tune B. Oh, should be JPEG. Okay, so now dev tune B is there, but we have to adjust, of course. We have to make a container there for the dev. So let's do that now while we have we have it. Let's remove all of this. Okay. Let's say we have a dev container. Same with this one. It will have its own dev container. Um, but it will only contain one. So let's make it a div class dev container. Okay, so for each of these, let's add some margin of 20 pixels, just figuring out and see how it will look like. Okay, how about 40? Okay, so that's better. So if I click a worker here, put her in a room, it will appear like that. So that should also apply to the others. If I add the dev container inside this and inside that. Oops, what's okay. Okay, now they all have their own dev containers. If I put TuneB there, for some reason I put her in the sound, it will appear like that. If I put her in the graphics, all right. So now, it's all set. It's coming along just fine. So just the proof of concept there. We just proven it. What's the next step? Okay, so what we're going to do now is to add some logic into this into the app that we made. We're going to simulate the setup. The setup says draw 3 and you pick 2 developers to hire in your team. So